Thanks for tuning in to Community Connection. I'm Iowa City Mayor Bruce Teague. As the COVID-19 pandemic continues to impact Iowa City and our surrounding communities, our local nonprofit organizations are continuing to provide support to those who need it most. There are individuals within our community exiting crisis situations and that are looking to get a fresh start on life. But being able to afford the furnishings for a new home can be daunting. That's where our next guest steps in. I'm joined by Selena McCarty, co-director of Houses into Homes. Thanks for joining me, Selena. I am so happy that you're here with me today talking about Houses into Homes. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me today.
Yes. Houses into Homes, this is more of a newer agency within our community, so many people may not know about you all, or they know somewhat about what you do, but I want to kind of have you talk about how did Houses into Homes or start, and what is the need that you all meet within our community?
Great. We always love to talk about how we started and the work that we do. My co-director and co-creator Lucy Barker and I, over 2 years ago now, were doing some work in our school district. We were working on strengthening communities within buildings. So our kids were at Horn and Northwest and West High, and we were doing some work with student groups to try to make everyone feel more like they were a part of the community, because we were hearing from students that there were things that made them feel like they weren't welcome or they weren't as important as their peers. In that work, we ended up working with students who were struggling across varying in really different ways. Some had behavior issues, some couldn't focus in class, some were falling asleep in class. And as we developed relationships with those students, we found that often it was a very simple reason that they were going home and did not have a bed to sleep on at night. So sleeping, resting was something that they weren't simply able to do. So couldn't focus at school, kind of struggled with behavior. We were really surprised by that knowledge. It still surprises me how often we encounter families in our community who do not have beds and do not have furniture. But that information that there were kids in our community who were trying to go to school and be successful without beds is what prompted us to sort of reach out and find out about what kinds of services were available here, really within our district. So Iowa City, Coralville, North Liberty. We did find that there were agencies working really tirelessly to help their own clients find furnishings for their homes, but that there was really a large gap in services. And that if you weren't directly tied to a shelter or another organization who had the means to help you find furniture, that families and individuals were living in empty homes for months. So we started just delivering beds through school district referrals, and really quickly found that no bed for a child meant that the home was completely empty. So really broadened our vision, and just sort of took off with, we want to offer everyone in our community the comforts of home, regardless of the circumstances that led them to be in a position where they don't have those. And we do that by collecting new and gently used donations of furniture, mattresses, and household items from throughout our community. We bring them back to our warehouse where they are cleaned, inspected, repaired sometimes. We do a lot of painting and upcycling. And then we have big delivery days where we fully furnish homes.
Can you tell us a little bit, since your inception, about how many people have you all helped to serve?
So we have actually just in this last week rolled over serving over 1,000 community members, and we are just over 2 years old. So we're really excited to have had that much impact in this amount of time. And 99% of the work that has gone into serving our community members has been volunteer hours.
Wow.
So we're very, very proud of that, and very grateful for a community who makes that possible.
Yes, and I know that there are people out there. I've even volunteered and done some deliveries. And so I do know the stories of when you bring in the beds or you bring in the furniture, just the excitement of the families. I remember going to one of the houses, and we walked in, and it was a longer apartment, and we went and took the bedroom back to the kids' room, and there was a bookshelf and some books that was provided and a few toys, and there was 2 beds in this room that we delivered. I
Yes, yeah.
remember the excitement on those children's face, and they were running through the house super excited. And where the bed was exciting, but what I really found very interesting is just the books, because in this home, there were no books in the home that I saw. It was a bare home. There was literally nothing in the home, except I believe there was something, either like a pallet in the parents' room. Other than that, there was really nothing in this home. And so to see that was a great experience. And I know that you have lots of stories similar.
Yes, that's often the case. There may be an arrow bed that everyone's sharing, or a couple of pieces of furniture that have been collected or given by a past tenant or a friend. But very, very often the home was completely bare. And when we started, we were just giving the essentials, in part because that was all that we had the ability to do. But as we grew and we got to know the people we were serving and working with more, we found out how important those extra things are and feeling like you're at home. So while it's great to have a functional home, it's really great to have a home that brings you joy as well, and where you have things to do like read books and play family games. Especially now with COVID restrictions, we have kiddos who are in entirely empty homes, and they can't go to school. The playgrounds are closed. They can't go to the library. It's really something to think about, being considerate of everyone else in your community and doing the thing that's safe and best, and doing that in an empty home. So we've really been excited lately to be able to deliver a lot of extra things. Bicycles, games, toys, and books are something we've been getting quite a few donations of, countless donations of, really. So in addition to the needs, as you mentioned, the younger kids especially are so thrilled to get things to do to fill some of their time right now.
Nice, nice, nice. So one question I have, you just mentioned that you served over 100 members in the community, and I'm assuming that's Iowa City and surrounding communities. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes,
All right.
over 1,000.
Over 1,000. I hope I said 1,000.
Yes.
Over 1,000. So with that being said, what are you seeing now with COVID-19 requests for services?
So we saw a spike in need at the beginning, and that was partly tied to some of our referring agencies having group home settings or shelter settings where folks couldn't socially distance. It's impossible. So there were some rapid move outs from some of these agencies where they needed furnishings as quickly as possible. So we were really happy to be able to work to provide some of those for those agencies to help them make their shelters and their group home settings really a safer space for everyone. Since then, we've noticed that it's really been steady. We have 17 referring agencies in the community, so many of them are sending us the same number of referrals that we've seen in the past. We do have concern that when some of the things like the eviction moratoriums and unemployment runs out, when things like that happen, we are really fearful that folks will be evicted and have to give up their items again, and that we will see a really large influx of referrals across the board.
And our community is so unfortunate that evictions right now, we're grateful that they're on hold, but once the moratorium is lifted, there's a lot of people at risk who haven't been able to pay their rent because of lack of income, and that's unfortunate. One of the questions that I have for you is in regard to some of your operations. How are you doing that now that COVID-19? How do you go into houses and provide this furniture? What are you doing there to do it safely and to protect the volunteers that actually deliver the furniture?
Yes. So the first 2 to 3 weeks, when we started to really see COVID in our community, we were honestly at a standstill with so much misinformation and a lot of guessing going around about how long the virus could survive and how contagious it was, or how contagious it is. We halted everything and said we need to really stop and wait to make sure that when we're doing this, we're doing it in a way that makes sure that our volunteers and the people who we are delivering to are being treated in a safe way. So the first few weeks, we really didn't do much except kind of wait and see. As research and data became evident that in most cases, the virus really can only survive 72 hours or so on perfect steel conditions, we developed a plan to pick up donations with no contact and to accept donation drop-off hours with no contact. So a no contact pickup would mean that we ask someone to put their sofa at the end of their driveway and we pick it up an hour later, masked. We're sanitizing constantly. That item goes back to our warehouse and it goes into a quarantine area for 2 weeks, which is well beyond any data that shows that the virus could survive that long. From there, it's fully sanitized and cleaned before we consider delivering it. That's really been a wonderful way for us to pick up donations. We also allow folks to drop off, and it's done similarly. We have donors carry their own items to the quarantine area and again, leave them there for that 2-week period before cleaning them and delivering them. It has made things harder on donors because in the past we would enter homes and carry the furniture out for donors, but it hasn't stopped donors. We've received more donations of furniture and beds in the past 5 weeks than we ever have before.
Wow.
So that willingness to do that work to get things to us is really something. We've had people drive donations to us from Palo, Independence, Waterloo, Des Moines,
Wow.
all over the state to support families and individuals here in our community. So it's really something. As far as deliveries go, we've taken the same approach with the no contact for the most part. If someone has a physical disability or something else that really prevents them from being able to move their items from their driveway or their parking lot into their home, we bring the items to their front door and sort of push them inside the door. Again, we're constantly sanitizing, wearing masks and distancing as well. We haven't used a lot of our volunteer base because it can be hard to really distance when we have a large group. So it's just a few of us doing these deliveries. We've had Habitat help us with deliveries over the past couple of weeks, and they've been wonderful. They've provided 2 staff members in their trucks to help with some no contact deliveries. So we're grateful for that as well.
Well, I'm happy to know that you all are being very innovative in how you're delivering the furniture and even receiving from donors furniture, because it's still important that when people reach out that you have some resources to give to those that need some items. One of the things that kind of strike me is really related to the innovation and even the time that went, the lapse time of trying to learn about the coronavirus, because I think it was very new and there was things developing all the time. And I think taking that time to learn how you can best operate, I appreciate, because I think it's very critical that we do take some pauses in what we're doing to make sure that we're doing, to the best of our knowledge, the most safest. So thank you for doing all that you're doing. And
Absolutely.
one of the, as you mentioned that you got a lot of furniture within the past few weeks. What was going through my mind is that there are people at home more now than ever, and so it's a great way to do some spring cleaning. So one of the things is the landfill is closed, and so more people have items that they really want to donate.
Mhm.
and they don't have that option. And so, not to say that they're giving you things that belong at the landfill,
Right.
but often I think people realize that there are items in their home that is reusable that don't belong or need to go to the landfill. And so this is another opportunity for them to kind of do that spring cleaning and give to a home that is well deserving and needing of various such furnishing items. And so I'm so happy that you all feel that need within our community.
It's our pleasure to do so. We're grateful,
Yes.
and it's entirely because of our community. This is the most caring, supportive community I've ever been blessed to be a part of, and I'm shocked every day at the kindness that we see when we reach out for things. It's really something.
One thing I want you to tell us is how can people learn more about you all, and how can they donate
Sure.
furniture, money, or even become a recipient of some of the items that you all have? How can they get in contact with you?
So our website is housesintohomes.org, and that's filled with all of the information that you just talked about. You can submit a request for us to pick up furniture. You can submit a request to drop off furniture and other items. You can find out about the items that we accept and the items that we really don't need. There's a list of our referring agencies also on that website. So if you're a person in need, you can look to that list of agencies. We do work through referral agencies for need. We've tried to make that list of agencies who can refer to us as broad as possible so that nobody who is in need can't find a way to attain a referral. The Iowa City School District, if anyone has school age kids, is a great resource. The Abbey Mental Health Center, some of the clinics at the University of Iowa, Johnson County Social Services. That's just to name a few. So there are really quite a few agencies who can send information our way, and then once we receive that information, we get in touch with the folks in need. In the past, we would go into homes to really get to know people and see their space and find out about the things that they like and don't like, and kind of look at angles and doorways, because that's something that really can make moving furniture into a home tough. We can't do that right now with the under COVID restrictions. So we've been doing really well so far. Everything that we've sort of eyeballed for measurements and photos has worked. So we hope that continues. Donations of financial donations can be made through our webpage as well. There's a link to donate.
Well, awesome. I'm so happy that you were able to share that with our viewers today. Any last final words that you would like to say?
Again, we would just really want to thank our community for being so wonderful. The donations, the support, even just the spreading of our information has been really, really critical during this time for us. It felt at first like it could sort of be the end of us and others. And through innovation and community support, we found a way to make it through. And we're very, very grateful. We look forward to continuing to serve our community with your support.
Thank you so much, Selena, and thanks to Houses into Homes for all that you're doing. We really, really appreciate and need your services. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor Teague. Take care.
Yes, you as well. That's our show for today. Keep up to date on city responses to COVID-19 by visiting icgov.org/coronavirus. I'll be back again on Thursday with another Community Connection. Until then, be safe, Iowa City, and remember, we're all in this together.